Hey everyone, welcome back. We're about to start working on our 2009 Ram again, but I thought I'd give you a look around and take a look at this smoke. Yes, that's what it is, it's smoke. A lot of forest fires, not necessarily in our province, but around. Some in BC, some down in the States, and all the smoke just kind of comes here. So let's have a look at that, and then we'll get back to work.
Okay, in order to get the timing set back up, I need to take this off because this tensioner was broken, and to get to the other part of it we have to get the oil pump off. It's a little tricky in the truck because you got this pickup bolt down here. You can get it off, but it's a pain and it's not easy to do. We're going to give it a shot. We start by loosening all the oil pump bolts. Get those out. You need to take this tensioner off. The reason why we have to take the tensioner off is because we're going to have to turn this oil pump. And if we leave it on, it won't allow us to. I just got lucky. Yep. Oh, crud. Oh, that was a bit of a chore, but we got it. And now we should be able to pop this oil pump out of here. Alright. It's a bit. And here's our broken bit right here. Get that off. Okay. Now we'll get this timing chain on. We're going to set this timing gear up. You can see this line right here. That's the cam sprocket. Pull out, you can see the cam sprocket. You want that at the 12 o'clock position. Down here on the crank sprocket, you can see a little dot right there. It's at the 6 o'clock position. This is, of course, with the cylinder at top dead center. Timing chain has a couple. These go on the top, and the line goes in betweens. On the bottom, you got a single line right there, and that goes on that single dot on the crank sprocket. So let's go ahead and put that all together. Okay, we're putting the cam retainer plate on. It's held on with this number 30 Torx bit. These screws take. Put a little Loctite on there so they don't back out. We're going to torque these to 108 inch-pounds. There we go. We're ready to put our timing set permanently on. Let's check our marks here. There we go. Get that on the bottom cog. Okay. Our timing tensioner back on. It's going to be the same sort of deal. It's going to be 108 inch-pounds. A little bit of Loctite so the bolts won't back out on us. Okay, we just use the drill bit to lock it in place. Okay, it's torqued on. There you go, we got good tension on the chain again. All right. Oh, man. That was a pain, but it's done. Can be done, it's just difficult. We're going to torque on the oil pump now. These are 14 foot-pounds or 170, well, 160 inch-pounds, but I round it to 170. There we go. So our timing's all back together. I'm gonna have to take this bolt out, put some Loctite on it and torque it, but I think we're good. Actually, maybe I will do that right now, just so I don't forget. Okay, now that we have our cam replaced, we're gonna get on, and we get the head back on, and we're gonna get to looking at some of our parts. I've already looked at them, but I want you to know what you're looking for. So here I've got a good push rod and I've got a bad push rod. And how you can tell the difference. So I put these side by side, you can clearly see that the one is worn. Let me get these level. You can see that this one, this bottom one, shorter, has got some scoring on it. And there's some jagged edges around the hole. And this one still has a nice round ball on it. It's in very good shape. The other thing you want to look out for is on your rocker arms. You're going to look at for signs of valve hammering. And what does that look like? Well, here is a fairly normally worn rocker arm, but here you can see all the pitting and the rough edges on there. That's been hammering, so that's worn out. You're going to want to replace that rocker. So you're going to look for all this type of stuff before going ahead and putting this all back together. I like to use a good bit of assembly lube here. Okay, so you can see there's two different length push rods here for the Hemi engines. One's exhaust, one's intake. So the shorter ones, they're going to go down deeper in the block. And they're going to go down into that hole right there. I don't know if you can see it very well, but and then these longer ones, they're going to go right there. Now these will go to your exhaust, the long ones for your exhaust, short ones for your intake. Now with the rockers, I get them all cleaned up. You'll notice that this has an eye marked on it. That's your intake, that's the upper ones. You clearly tell because they go to your intake ports. This is tricky. It's even worse when it's in the vehicle. Now, you got to make sure you fish these cups into here. That one's in, that one's in, that one's in. And start by tightening down the middle, and then working your way back and forth. Maybe we'll come back and we'll torque these in a minute. And just how I like to check them, give them a little wiggle. Put your finger in there. You'll be able to feel the push rod moving with the rocker. You know it's good. And these ones are easier to do because you can clearly see if it's in the cup or not. So if you do need to change a rocker on one of these shafts, how you do it, you pop the bolt out, and then this little plate's got a little hat washer on it with a couple tabs. You just yank that out. You can see those tabs, they bend over. Once that's off, you can slide the rocker off. And put it back in gently. We're going to bend these tabs back. Put them back where they go. Make sure they're lined up like the other ones. You push your bolt back through. And bend the tabs out. In theory, lock that back in place. Doesn't work so good when they're already used, but anyways, that's how I do it. There we go. I'll get to torquing these down. You've seen me do this a few times now in some of the other videos. You start in the middle, work back and forth, bring them down nice and even so you don't warp your rocker shafts. So the last thing I'm going to do before putting this cover on is I'm going to rotate it through a few times. Got a spark plug pulled out of each so we don't have compression and we can turn it through easier. I'm just going to make sure nothing binds up, and we're going to watch for movement on each one. Okay, so you can see we get these guys moving. You can see this guy's moving. You can see this intake's moving. You can see that intake moved. So all our intakes are moving nicely. Check all our exhausts. We already know that one's moving. We know this one's moving. This guy's moving.
There we go. So everything is moving pretty nice. Okay, there you go. We got this side wrapped up. We get the front cover back on. We'll go hook up the exhaust next too. Making some progress. Excellent. We're going to put our front timing cover on, but first we got to put a dab of silicone down in the corners here where the oil pan meets. So here we go. Okay, we put a little Vaseline on our crank seal. Just get it to slide in there nice. Don't want to rip that. Okay. All right, because we didn't find the problem with the cam or the lifters that we thought we were going to have, we're going to replace this number 7 solenoid because that could cause us some issues. It's unlikely, but since we got a spare, we'll throw that in and see what happens. Now, these are a real pain to get out without wrecking them. Hopefully we get lucky. So what do you want to do? You want to give them one whack with a hammer. That breaks the O-ring seal. Allows you to give it a twist, hopefully. There we go. Just work it back and forth a bit. Okay, we're getting our intake on. Remember to hook up your short runner valve wire at the back of it. Just pop that in here. Now we just need to get the 8mm. Start hooking everything up. Okay, there we go. Burn like a kid, and now nice and quiet. No more ticks. Love it. An update on the smoke situation. It might have gotten a little bit worse. As you can see, can't see much of anything now. It's getting pretty thick this next day. So yeah, hopefully it clears up soon. Okay, so we finally got our 2009 Ram running really good, but now we got to take care of a couple other things, such as that air conditioning evaporator, which is part of the HVAC unit in this truck. And in order to get at that, you have to take the dash out. It sounds daunting, but it's actually not too bad. We'll take you through that. And there's a couple reasons why you may want to do this job. Another common failure that some of these trucks have is they have an actuator door that runs the diverter flaps in the HVAC unit. And sometimes those actuators break. They're just plastic drives, and you have to take the dash out, get the HVAC out to replace those drives. It sounds bad, but it's an accomplishable task. So we're going to take you through that, see if I can figure it out. And we'll get the dash out of this, get the HVAC out, get that evap unit replaced for the air conditioning, and then we'll be able to hook up our new hoses and charge up the system, and we'll have some air conditioning on this truck too. And if you could do us a favor, hit the old subscribe button, leave us some likes, some comments, stuff like that. It helps us all out in the end, and it doesn't cost anything. All right, let's get to it.